We ready? Good morning. Want to welcome everybody today. It's July 11th, 2024 at our regular board meeting agenda at 8885 West, 3500 South, Magna, Utah General Office Building. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will you guys all please stand with me with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get started, around our diocese table, we have our wastewater manager, Dallas Henline, our water construction manager, Raymond Mondragon. Our HR director is Andrew Sumption. Board member, Jeff White, Mick Sudbury, Danny Stewart. Our controller, Leal Fitzgerald, legal counsel, Nathan Bracken, and helping us today with our meeting, and general manager is Clint Dilley. Again, I'd like to welcome public guests, and if anybody here has a conflict of interest with the agenda, like to know. If not, I will accept public comments if anybody has anything they would want to address the board. That's easy. So moving on, let's do our approval of common consent items.
Minutes of the regular board meeting held June 13, 2024. Expenses from June 3rd to June 30th, 2024. General expenses, $1,605,703.35. Science Bank bond payment, $83,609.69.
I'll second it.
In motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to item G, secondary water pump station.
Okay. I want to mention the secondary water pump station. What that was is we had John Davis, Bob Batt, and Eugene Scott working pretty much the whole weekend trying to keep that pump station up and running due to the how dirty the canal water was and our pump going out, as well as losing power. We pretty much worked the whole weekend trying to keep the pump station up and running. I just want to recognize them for the diligent effort they did to keeping that up and going throughout the weekend.
Awesome.
I wanted to include Raymond in that. He was out, it was all weekend.
Okay.
We were out.
Yeah, we got it. We almost emptied our reservoir, but we ended up keeping it full.
Wow.
It was scary.
Well, thank you.
So did they say anything about why the water's so dirty? Do we ever ask them? Are they cleaning the canal or something during
It
the
looks almost
irrigation?
look like somebody's cleaning. It's got like hay in it. It's got grass in it. And then we had that big rainstorm up at around the 21st, and it just, I think it just washed all the gutters out and dumped it into the canal.
You don't think people are dumping their grass clippings?
There's a lot of clippings in there.
Oh, wow.
Do you think is as hot as it is, could be an algae bloom in there?
Yeah, that's possible.
You know,
I think they started announcing some. They're
Down in
starting to
Utah
see
Lake,
some,
yeah.
But we, not up to this point, I don't think.
I mean, as hot as it is, it could happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We just gotta get through the next 3 months and then we're,
yeah. They've been creative, over there to work around several of the issues. I think they've done a great job. We had to use some drinking water to spray down with a little bit more capacity until we get that screen and the pump replaced.
Yeah, so we replace the pump, which will be a couple of weeks, and then right now, like I said, I've taken a fire hose and I have a spraying against the drum screen right now, cleaning the drum screen. That way we can get the water into the sump. And it seems to be working right now. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, the canal kind of clean up a little bit, the water quality.
I don't know.
So, but like I say, it's working and we're here to keep it working.
We appreciate your effort.
Okay, moving on. Our new employee.
I'd like to welcome Wade Fuller. We're excited to have him. He's a recent high school graduate that already has a good work history with the school district. Where he was highly recommended by our IT consultant. We're excited to have him as part of our team, and his supervisors already spoke to how he has a great work ethic and he's picking things up.
Great, welcome.
Tell him a little bit about yourself, Lane.
Like you said, I'm 18, just graduated from Cypress. Not really much to tell, and fishing. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, that's exciting, right out of high school and got a career and great benefits and good deal. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Lane.
Nice to meet you all.
Let you get back to your day. Thank you for coming in.
Right on. Okay, let's move on to department reports.
All right, thanks, Mick. We have with Lane, our most recent hire, pleased to report that we're fully staffed.
Right on.
So that's a nice place to be. Obviously, we've got to get all the training up to speed to be fully functional and well-oiled machine, but we're excited to have full staff right now that we can report to the board. A couple other things I'll highlight. We've been looking into a master service agreement with an electrician. Raymond's been looking into this. This came out of the issues with the secondary pump station. It would be more of a preventative approach. So they would come around and inspect facilities, wiring connections ahead of time to try to see if we could avoid arcing, things that happened on the meter base, those types of issues in the future. So I thought that was a real positive that came out of it. Something that we're looking to be more proactive. And so we're gonna move forward with that. Nathan's reviewed the services agreement and provided comments, so we'll work with them to try to get his comments incorporated, and then we'd be bringing it back to the board next month, so I wanted to give you a heads up on that. Any questions or
Nope.
concerns on that? Okay. We're working on an operating permit for the Hayneswell number 2 rehab project. Just have to get them some paperwork in to get it official. So the water and department and engineering's working on that.
How long's their turnaround?
Ours or
Oh, theirs. Are they
theirs
pretty
is
slow?
usually a month. They're pretty slow. I mean, it has improved over the years. When I was knee deep in it on the engineering side, it would take a while, but I think they have improved on their staffing. On the wastewater side, I just wanted to report that I've seen a draft of the Water Reclamation Facility Treatment Master Plan. I think that they're making great progress. They've got a great team. They'll be presenting some of that information soon to the board, I believe. But there's some additional scope that's come out of that Dallas will be working through with them and Trevor, and we'll be bringing back to the board to discuss. As far as the office, Leal's and the team's got some great things going. We had an initial meeting with the Yapify to begin evaluation as to whether or not their customer communication software would be a good fit for the district needs. It looks like it's a really neat program. It would, I think we talked about a little bit with some of the board. It's a program that allows you to quickly communicate information to customers, and you can use a graphic, visual graphic. You can highlight an area on a map and just send out notices to that area.
Is it being used anywhere else?
It is. Quite a few of the other districts are now using it. So we were gonna have a follow-up meeting next couple weeks.
I would really like to see how it works.
Yeah, I think what we would recommend is they come and do a demo for the board.
Okay.
If that's something you're wanting to do. I was thinking that maybe a 10-minute.
Are they the ones I met here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to see what their yearly cost is, because they all now have a maintenance fee or whatever they call upgrade fee.
Yeah,
Some of it gets,
we're supposed to get that from them next time, and so that's something that I think there's some excitement here.
So you think that's something we would really use?
I do. It could potentially even replace our noticing as people get more electronic, sophisticated. You could even use it for shut-off notices. A lot of districts are using it for shut-offs. They're using it for, one of the advantages that they built into it is that they look at several different ways of communicating. So they talk about phone texting, emailing, phone numbers, and mailing. And it has a database that will tell you how each customer can be communicated with. And they maintain that. And so we get notification too. It gives confirmation that we've successfully communicated as well.
so it tells if they read what you sent.
Yeah, if it was successfully.
Okay.
And so it does this without having to do it all manually. It's in a program that does that. So you can determine how you want to communicate. You can also determine, hey, we need to get more customers on this style of communication. So if we have a lot of customers that are only on mail, we know which ones are only receiving mail, and we can work to get additional contact forms. So it's a pretty cool.
So it should save some labor on our
Oh,
part.
absolutely.
Like, where I'm concerned is like, let's verse the cost with the labor, you know what I mean? What our labor costs and what it would cost, and then if there's a maintenance fee in that, and,
Well,
cause it's, how long, it's not been running that long,
It hasn't.
About a
only been
year.
few years.
okay?
Yeah, it might be a little early in their genesis, and I think Liel will for certainly give us cost comparison on what she thinks is, if it's reasonable or not.
Okay.
I know a lot of, newer generation, they will look in their email box before they'll look in their mailbox.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how I am. Yeah,
yeah, because sometimes they don't even look in their mailbox at all.
exactly.
The other thing I'll just note that we've got Cintas has been, Andrew and Raymond have been working on that for quite a while. How many meetings do you think you've had with Cintas and the other vendors over the past dozen?
Yeah, I bet Vestas alone has been here a dozen times themselves.
Yeah, they really put a lot of effort into making sure we get a good product for the best cost. And I think we've settled on that with Vestas, and so we're excited to complete that, as they've already replaced some of the sanitary equipment and the rugs, and they're working towards uniforms in the next couple weeks.
Oh, wow.
So we're excited to be to that point.
When did the Centos contract expire? Was that May?
And it's July 1st was well, June 30th.
June 30th, okay, good.
They come pick up all their stuff,
Kind of.
kinda?
They picked up the rugs and some of the clothes, but they left the lockers and the towel dispensers and other things
You
like
need to send them a letter?
that. I emailed them and asked them if they were coming back for those. Because we didn't want to incur some costs, and they said that they will not be charging us for it, and that the new vendor can use the lockers.
Wow.
So it was a plus.
So the only lockers we had to bring in
You
are
might want
standard
to get that in
EDR.
writing.
I do have it in writing.
I would hate to see in 6 months they have a rent bill.
Yeah, I considered calling them, then I thought the same thing, so I sent an email to make sure that we had it in
Okay.
writing.
I also wanted to thank Jeff. I know that you were in communication with Quinn Redmond. We did get a list of all of the Weir Masters.
He sent it to me, I sent it to, or he sent it to Mick.
Oh,
Mick
okay.
sent it to you.
Yeah, I know, thank you both.
And I send it to our city manager, so we all have
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you for
who's-
doing that.
Because we had an incident yesterday too, so.
I think that'll be really helpful for us. We can
Well, if it'll
direct-
take some pressure off you guys, that was the main thing.
So I wanted to thank both of you for that. The last thing is just a customer complaint. We did have a gentleman, Lewis Elmer. He wanted to be able to make the city night that you guys had.
Yeah.
He was planning on attending that, but he couldn't make it. But he wanted to express his concern over the RV dump closure. He's a truck driver. He pulls a double trailer. And he says he can't use the Holiday Oil or the Maverick. And I asked him why he couldn't. I knew why he couldn't use the Holiday Oil. But the Maverick is a big site that he could access. But he said he can't use that because he spends an hour and a half to 2 hours cleaning his trailers out. And so he couldn't make people wait. At the Maverick, there's not an easy way to make.
Well, how was he gonna do that down at RV dump? We can't make, I mean, they could.
Yeah.
Same
I said,
thing.
well, I haven't heard of that concern.
Personal car wash, what?
He just says he's really thorough and he wants it really spick and span clean because he doesn't want his neighbors smelling it. I said, I hadn't heard that complaint before. I said, how did you propose us solving that? Because that's obviously a concern down at ours as well. And he said, well, if the district were to make that card access and widen it, move the gates back, then someone could have a card, pay a yearly fee. He said, I'd be willing to pay over $120 or something, he said. You've got all my information. I swipe a card, I get in. And then I can take my hour and a half to 2 hours. That seems
That, for a
a
single
long-
toilet with a holding
long
tank
time.
is
But I wanted to make
absolutely-
sure, I told him I'd communicate that to the board and.
absolutely, but does he understand the vulnerability of the water treatment?
Yeah,
wastewater
he did
treatment?
acknowledge that. He did acknowledge that.
I don't
And
care if
that's
he's
why
got a carburetor or not, we are vulnerable.
yeah, he mentioned, he had gotten the communications that we had sent out. He mentioned he had seen the pictures of the hose in the pump motor, and he remembers the dump when they had a problem from someone dumping the waste. So
Yeah,
he
if he
acknowledged
was there an
that.
hour and a half, we'd have cars clear down the road up to 201 waiting to come down in.
Well, the reason he's pulling triples, because when he comes in, then he wants to do it and take it home and put it away. I can see that.
Yeah,
But that's ridiculous.
and
Can
he,
you imagine how many people would want to use it that would not be able to?
yeah. So I think we have looked into that card access issue. It was obviously expensive.
So is he pulling a boat too with him?
Yeah,
He
he's
just
got
said double trailer.
RVA's
You'd have to have
probably
a
four-wheelers or something.
Plus his trailer.
But I'll tell you, in talking to a lot of people, I think they're going to other communities to dump. But I think we were having that problem before.
Right. have them
Ours
all
was
come
so
here.
convenient. I think a lot of the use was outside of our
It
district.
was, Twillin. And you know what, at Grantsville, they had an RV dump just like the one we had there.
Done away with those.
And they done away with that because they had the same problems
Yeah.
that we had down there with ours.
Yeah, the systems that have a different treatment style, maybe that have a little bit more capacity on, like a pond,
Or maybe they hold it.
or maybe they do the holding.
Beater it in.
Do they?
Yeah. And Twilla had one
If we
too.
had a separate holding tank,
Yeah,
you know, there's a couple of things we'd have to do, but that'd be a big expense.
Well, it costs us a lot of money to do that, and especially when we got places around here that they can dump their RVs. And the Maverick's is a great location down there, and
yeah,
it's big.
that concern I don't think is gonna apply to most people.
Well, see, the one thing that I always did, you used all your reserve water, you filled up your holding tank, so when you're driving home, it's cleaning it out. So when you dump, it's pretty clean. So I don't know why he spent an hour and a half, but that's his deal.
Yeah.
One toilet, oh, I mean, Maybe Mick can give him some pointers on how to clean in about 15 minutes.
And that's my report unless the board has anything else.
Great, thank you, Clint.
Thank you.
Let's move on to our engineering report.
Okay, Trevor is on vacation, so we're gonna split up his workload. You've got the engineering report that he put together there. The services on the 2023 water line replacement on 8850, services on it are almost completed. On 9000 West, all the piping and connection to the existing pipelines are complete and the services are being tied over. There's some shutdowns coordinated today to, in conjunction with that.
So the only
project.
question I have, so I have two questions on here. So on the 88 90th West pipe replacement, I think they could be a little bit more tidier than they are, because the roads are really,
On 8850.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're,
we can pass that along.
Yeah, we
They-
had a meeting with him yesterday. and I kinda
Okay.
Brought up some those items that you're
they
talking
have,
about.
they should have a sweeper to sweep up them roads, because them roads are pretty bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we can draw attention to that, that would be great.
So are our tie-ins taking place from Monday to Thursday? Is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, like now the main line is completed, now we're working on.
Right.
Service lines, they'll start, like I said, probably, say tomorrow on the service lines on 9000 and completing 8850 today probably, way it looks, because they were almost a few houses left.
Right. And you know, and I haven't heard no complaints
No,
from the homeowners, so that's good.
That's good.
yeah, it's been a good project.
The reclamation facility reuse project, they're working on the mechanical piping and filters and electrical. Dallas, anything you wanted to add on that? I think
Things are
it's
looking
still
real
going.
good.
We had some concern on the electrical equipment delivery.
Yeah, we got an update yesterday at our construction meeting. We have a ship date for the main power feed, so then once that gets on site, Rocky Mountain can come out and tie it into the main line. They're just doing some water testing on the wet wells, and then they'll be able to backfill almost all of the whole site.
Okay,
So it's looking really good.
awesome.
Doors and windows are in, all the pumps are in.
I'm excited to see that reuse project.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty big for us here. Influent pump station tentatively scheduled to start July or August. So, we'll be looking forward to that. We talked about the facility plan earlier. Haynesville 8, Trevor's working through the paperwork and agreement for the grant money, the $1.3 million grant. And then, once that's signed off on, we'll be moving forward with bidding out the well. Raymond and Trevor will be working towards getting that project drilled.
So do we have to do a special casing or anything on those?
Last time, I think they're doing a different drill method than we proposed last time. Last time it was cable tool.
Oh, wow.
And so they used that oversized casing and pounded in.
Oh, and then remove the center one, or?
And what they do, yeah, they'll pound that in, and after they get everything set in place in the gravel packet, then they pull the steel casing out,
Yeah,
and the gravel pad fills
So
into
then they
the-
perforate it after they pull it out, the new casing?
it was still steel, it was welded steel screen.
Screen.
For the final, we're talking about the surface casing.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a different process with the cable tool. And the finish casing will be similar. It's a welded steel screen for the screen portions and then mild steel for the,
So it only like goes down 100 feet or something?
I think we're
200.
200.
Right now, we're thinking 220 in our last number, 7 was.
How far down does it go on that? Is that like
Just-
300 feet?
No, just the 220 feet, yeah.
Okay.
The West Side Collection project Dallas will be talking about, and he'll be talking about the change house. And then, Northrop Grumman has approved the purchase agreement at staff level that we've been working with, all the comments have been agreed to.
Okay,
So they're just sending it up the chain for final agreement.
okay, awesome.
Final approval.
That's good.
So that's the engineering report, unless the board has anything else on that.
Nope, I'm good. Are you guys, any questions from you guys?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay, Raymond, let's do our waste, water report.
Okay, water operations report. As of now, we're pumping 7.3 million gallons a day.
Wow.
The construction crew right now, we're averaging about three leaks a week, and we're pretty much keeping up with all the leaks on the construction side. Meter crew is changing out commercial meters right now between 2-inch, 1.5-inch, and 3-inch meters. What we're going through right now, trying to catch up with all our meters on the commercial side, our high usage. EDR, as of now, we're upgrading our computer system at the EDR. It's over 5 years, so we're looking at it, upgrading it on the operations side. Water production summary. The colony water production for the month of June was 230.89 million gallons, or 708.62 acre feet, 17.98 increase from 2023. Year to date was 744.30 million gallons, or 2,284.33 acre feet, 10.16 increase from 2023. As of now, we've purchased 400 acre feet from Jordan Valley. Call out reports. Total number of call outs for the month of June was 32. Water side 29, wastewater 3. Total hours paid for call outs was 129. Water hours was 117, wastewater was 112.
Excuse me, 12, just 12.
Was it 12? Yeah, wastewater, 12.
12 hours.
Yeah, it's 12 hours. Most of the hours were due to the secondary pump station. Service line leaks 4, miscellaneous calls 28, which I'll include on your sheet, on the call outs. Most of them was for secondary pump station, drum screen plugging. And that concludes my water operations report.
Thank you. What was really good is on the 4th of July, we had that main break and we were still able to keep our people in the parade.
Yeah.
And that all worked out really good. And I want to thank Andrew for taking care of the Grand Marshal, driving him in the parade. So that was really a good plus. And then again, I want to thank you too for getting the cemetery water tank filled up too. So that's good. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, one
Yeah.
thing I just wanted to highlight that stood out to me on this report. You can see our secondary is really starting to pick up.
right.
41% increase from last year for this month's delivery, and pretty much 40% across the board. So that's substantial. We're finally seeing the payoff of getting some of those bigger users onto the secondary and really taking the heat off of the drinking water. If we were delivering that much more water out of our treatment plant, you can see we start pushing up against capacity limits.
You're gonna dry up the Great Salt Lake. Hey, could we get for next month, a list of how many people are not on secondary water?
Yeah,
The last time I heard it was 384.
yeah, we can get that.
We're kind of thinking that maybe next year when we get on,
Reuse.
when we get on reuse,
We can
that
get-
maybe we can
get
make
more
a
aggressive.
plan to get them on.
Get more people involved on, and I think you will, because from when I've gathered to talk to the residents, they don't want to get on it because the screens are always plugging off. And last year we did have a hole in our screen out here, but, since then that's been fixed. But people for some reason don't want Utah Lake water.
Yeah,
Well, they hear about the plume and
Yeah.
stuff and they get all worried. I think we're gonna eliminate that with the reuse.
And what I would like to do with legal counsel is, I would like to find a way how we can make it affordable to get these people on it.
Yeah, I've
So
had a
between
couple
now
people say
and,
if-
now and next spring, I'd like to see you guys come up with a plan and see what we can do to come up with a plan and get them on it where we wouldn't charge them no interest, you know, and set up some kind of a plan where they could,
We have got that grant money, from the Division of Water Resources, that we have a letter generated, kind of in a first attempt at that,
Okay,
where we'll pay for the meter.
now that's, normally we were charging $500, is that right?
Yeah, there's a
Yes.
normal
But-
charge, so that's an incentive, but they
But they
still
still
have the
had
cost.
to hire a contractor to
Yeah.
tie the water line.
Right, and so one of the things we've talked about is we're gonna use the information that we get back from that
okay?
to document what's limiting.
Yeah, we're gonna
right?
probably take a lot of feedback though, when we're offering, you know, cause we've made everybody else pay $500 and that was the blue light special now, or,
Yeah,
We did, a while back, I can't remember when, but we did have another smaller grant where we took $100 off the fee, so there's people that have paid $100 less. I haven't really heard any flack on that. This,
Okay.
of course, is a lot bigger break,
right,
but
And it is that tough, that's a difficult message when we say to the customer, anybody that gets on secondary water benefits everybody.
right.
It's hard to understand that. Well, I don't have it, so it doesn't help me. You know, so we do need to continue to try to figure out a way to sell that message, because that does. It
So what
helps
is,
everybody.
and that's another thing too, is we should just kind of check with the other districts around and just see what they're doing, you know, to promote their secondary water or, I mean, just,
The biggest incentive is gonna be cost.
right,
And I haven't looked at your rates in a while, but just, you know, hypothetically, if you have certain big users that were, and maybe coming up with that list that Jeff, we have, these are the big users that are using X amount of gallons over.
Right.
You know, you could incentivize it through a rate structure.
Right.
Let's say, hey, people using this amount, we're gonna charge a higher rate than what you get if you're on the, if you stay on the culinary system. Once, we could do it with the tiered rate structure, but if you go to the secondary system, the rates will be a lot less. Now, that's one of those things you'd wanna have a lot of lead-in time, you know, there's a process we'd have to go through to set the rates. You know, we probably wanna have some data to back it up. But that may be a way to do it, because I think ultimately people aren't gonna care about what others are doing. They're gonna be like, well, if it's cheaper for me to be on the secondary system, then that,
And it is.
It is.
It is currently. It's not dramatic on big users, like we haven't done what Washington County's done.
yeah.
But it's still 2/3 of the cost if you compare drinking water only versus drinking water and secondary, it's usually 2/3 of the cost of water. That's
Yeah.
what we've.
there's savings.
Yeah, yeah.
we'll try to find some, maybe some contractors that moonlight or something that can help tie in these secondary. Now, are we gonna require on reuse that they have to install a filter?
I think we would still want that, and just in case we had to use other sources.
Okay.
so could we, when Jeff's talking about using other contractors, so could we actually, I don't know, this is kind of a scary part here, this is
Well,
legal.
it's on their side. It's-
But could we provide a list of people that do that? You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to say they work for us, the district, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar situation with another district where huge fight to get people just, they were a more rural place, not everything was metered.
Right.
So what they ended up doing is, the meters are different than what you're doing, but it was still kind of, they just basically had a list of contractors. And they said, look, these are the people that do this work in this area. Here they are, go hire them and do it. So they kind of made it easy, but one thing you could potentially do, and Jeff, I think this was your proposal, is if a barrier is just they don't want to hire a contractor to do it, you may just want to look into the cost of, okay,
We do it. Yeah.
we do it, how much does it cost to get a contractor? We have some sort of a connection agreement that they sign, that, you know, if we go on and we just get a license to go on their property and maybe some waivers.
You could consider that potentially if you decided, hey, if anybody has secondary in front of them, if it comes to the point where you feel like you want to make that mandatory that they connect,
Or it could be,
that's an option.
I don't know if I want to get to that point where you know, make people mandatory. I don't think I would want to do that.
it could be more of an incentive based.
Right.
Or an
Right.
incentive.
Where it's like, hey, we've hired a contractor to connect to our system. If you connect within, I don't know, the next year, we'll give you a reduced rate.
Okay, so
something.
what about if we turned around and we have a contractor that would do that, you know, hook them up for free, which is gonna be on our dime and we could use some of this money. Would it'd be an incentive to us because now we've got them on secondary water and we're gonna make we're gonna,
You'd have to see how long that average cost of return would be.
okay,
How long do we pay it off? If it's less than the infrastructure, right, and we pass that point of where we're even on the cost within 5 or 6 years, that's a reasonable investment.
The feedback I'm getting now is 2 to 5 years. So some people have told me I would do it if I could pay for it over a 2-year period. So maybe if we could make that work 2 to 5, I think.
well, like Jeff and Danny and myself, we agree we need to get people we need to get them on secondary. But the complaints I've had has been, you know, the screens plug and then our sprinklers, it's
think-
easier just to stay.
I think we've all been of that opinion that, hey, until we have a better quality, it's tough to get more aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the guys I'm looking at possibly, the plumbing people are so busy and they charge so much that if we can get sprinkler guys to do this, they're still licensed, but they have a little, because they're seasonal, they have a little better rate.
you're right.
So I'm thinking, it'd be more unofficial, but, you know, find some people that can do that. We don't necessarily have to recommend it, but it can spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we got people serious about it, then we need to be able to help them, you know?
Right.
Especially like some of the people on fixed income stuff, it's really tough.
Because what are we talking about? It's just like if we don't get people using this water, we start talking about raising rates more significantly on the drinking water stuff,
Right.
I mean, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Dallas, let's move on to your wastewater report.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, just a quick update, regulatory update for the wastewater treatment plant. We had our annual phosphorus report due July 1st. Right now, we're permitted for a 1.8 limit. Our annual average last year was 1.46. 2025, that limit goes down to 1.0. So we've got some work to do. We think the filters and the reuse project will help with that, along with our chemical addition. At the wastewater treatment plant, we took delivery of the new Ventrac sweeper this week. Had some safety training and some operator training on that, as well as some maintenance training. And then on the collection side, we've been working on some backhoe operator training, some safety training for that piece of equipment. The boys have been training with their new Blue Stake Locator Request software. They've got some tablets that they've got for their trucks. All the Blue Stakes now come in on their tablets. You can set those up and organize them by your location, and then it'll GPS map them in order. Saves a lot of time, them driving around. They can add notes to the Blue Stakes that will be seen by the contractor. So, or whoever called the Blue Stakes in, they can attach photos to the Blue Stakes now. So it's live communication and interaction with the contractors. They just started their third quarter grease trap inspections at all of our industrial users. And then we're working with engineering to start some more GIS training for our newer operators.
Okay, awesome.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
I noticed been doing a lot of, we do it pretty much, is the blue staking every day, pretty much, it seems like.
Right.
That's getting to be like a full-time job, right? I mean,
About 11,000 per year.
wow.
I have a question. So I had a customer call me and he had somebody come out and camera his system because he had plug up.
Sure.
And I think it got started because somebody in the house had dumped some glue or something in the drain, which they weren't supposed to do, but they had a camera, and so they had won't name the company, but they're very expensive. But they came out and made the situation like, well, your problem's in the street. If we have a situation like that, can they call, who do they call and see if somebody could come within a week and camera
Sure.
up the main to make sure from their property back? it's
Generally, the way we address a customer concern is they will call the office. And then the office will make contact with either the lead man or myself, depending on who's available. And then we'll dispatch a crew to first check the main line to make sure everything's flowing. If it's flowing as it should be, upstream and downstream manhole have the appropriate flow, then it usually doesn't go much further than that. If there's any questions about it, we put the camera equipment in, and we will go up and take a photo of their lateral and look at the main to lateral connection, print that out and give it to the customer.
Well, they told them they had a belly just as it went from the sidewalk into the main.
Sure.
And so I said, go back and look at it and make the guy tilt. And move the camera. It was pointing down, so it was in a 1/4 inch of water, made it look like there was a belly.
Sure.
I said, man, so you've gotta be careful about these guys. They're just,
Yeah, they want
you know, and they're making, so I said, anytime it's back to your sidewalk, call the Magna Water and
Right.
have them come and check. Is that okay? to have them
It's 100%, it's 100% fine.
Check that.
We prefer that. If there's an incident, then we like to be on top of it. We'd rather over-inspect than under-inspect, so I'll take phone calls for that all day.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, Liel,
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as compliance and meeting our legal requirements, we are in compliance. We did get the audit report to the state by June 30th, and so that's done. Next month, or by the end of July, we'll be putting in our financial information into the transparency website for the second quarter, and then in August, I'll report to the board the quarterly reports then. The State Money Management Act requires a investment report due July 31st for the second quarter. That will be submitted before then. And we did get our CCR report out to the public, or at least a link or information on their bill saying that it was available by July 1st. And so we're in compliance with everything. As part of my report, which is not on the agenda, I just wanted to give you an update on the .gov domain conversion.
yes.
Yeah.
Everything's ready to go, we just have to push the button, and then both our .com and .govs will be working. Come the end of the year, our .coms will
go away.
no longer be available. So, I've written this letter to hand out to our employees, so they're somewhat educated on what's gonna be happening. And then once that is done, we'll probably put the .gov to everyone's email, and then everybody else will be, they'll be responsible to like change their sign-ons to any other application or whatever. We'll be in the process of collecting any type of literature, anything that we need to have printed again with the new emails and new website. So that's where we're at on that. But I think we're in a pretty good spot right now where we are, so we'll make it by the end of the year.
Awesome.
Do we need to set up a website? I mean, email
We just gotta,
address
we just gotta
under
change
.gov?
ours to the .gov.
Yeah, you guys now have a magnumwater.com email.
Yeah,
We will change yours to .gov also.
okay.
Yeah, because when it first happened, our city manager, David Bricky, he got mine. I was the very first one, I think, on .gov, right?
Nice.
So, yes. It's the next big expense.
I didn't support that bill. I don't know why, I don't think there was any confusion, but that was the idea, that people were didn't know if it was .org or .com, if it was a government entity, so
Yeah.
it's gonna cost millions and millions and millions of taxpayer dollars.
Yep,
Yeah.
it will. Reprinting all kinds of things and just getting everything moved over, but, that is my report.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Chair.
you. Let's go over to our HR report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With what Clint mentioned earlier about being fully staffed, we thought it'd be a good time to update the org chart and present it to the board. As you can see here, it's the first time we've had 35 full-time employees.
35?
Yep,
Because I've been under management, I said 27, so we're moving up.
we're growing, and I think it shows the work that the board and the district has put in to grow the Magna Water District. Is there any questions on this org chart?
No, I think it looks good.
I'll just highlight on there, you can see on there that anybody with an asterisk is one of our senior operator designated employees. Some of the things going on this last month, we had our annual workplace violence training at our last safety meeting. We attended the 4th of July. I think that was a success. Our employees enjoyed doing it. We had a nice banner made up to highlight the success of the wastewater department over the last couple of years. I will say, along with what Mick had mentioned about being able to still do it even with the mainline break, about 9 o'clock that morning, I got a call from Matt Hunter telling me that there's a mainline break. He wasn't sure what we were going to be able to do, and we made a couple of phone calls, and the crews were more than willing to pick up where they needed to be able to make sure things happened.
Which is great on a holiday,
Yeah, exactly.
to have people that'll come out.
We are doing CPR and first aid training next week for all the employees. We've got the safety council coming in to do that. This month's safety focus is electrical safety. We've done some trainings on electrical safety, and we're going to continue to do those throughout the month. We attended the emergency response training, Dallas, Trevor, and myself at Jordan Valley. We learned some valuable things there and some things that are upcoming with trying to get everybody on the same page in the valley. And this month we did succession planning. We went through with the succession planning. It was a big undertaking. We did an extensive review. Some of the things that we focused on is to start were we met with all the managers one-on-one, identified key positions within their departments, identified potential positions that might need to be created over the next 5 to 7 years, identified potential successors for these key positions, assessed the readiness of these and timelines for these potential successors, evaluated any necessary development that might need to be done for people to be able to step into those roles, and we took a dive into some of the risks of what they might foresee within their own departments over the next 5 to 7 years and how we might be able to mitigate some of those risks. After that, we sent out a survey to all the employees and asked them what they felt like their key responsibilities were, how long they've been in their current positions, how long it would take to train somebody to fulfill that position if they were to leave, some of the critical factors to their success in their roles, their timeline with how much longer they anticipate being within the district, and their future career aspirations. After we got those surveys in and reviewed those with the managers, we then met with every employee one-on-one, along with their supervisor and manager, and we discussed a little bit further some of their current roles and responsibilities to get a better picture of what their thoughts were and what the district's thoughts were on that. We explored some of their career goals and aspirations and gave some guidance and feedback to the employees on things that we would like to see them develop to be able to fill these key roles. I think this was a thorough process. It gave us a strategic plan for our future leadership moving forward, as well as provided an awesome opportunity for the employees to gain some opportunities to develop more.
Was your feedback good?
I think it was actually great. There was a lot of open discussion, a lot of interest in future promotion, and
And we learned a lot that there were things that popped out that we didn't see,
yeah,
you know.
See, and that, I like hearing that. You know, the stuff that I hear out there, out in the city, is some of these guys want more money. Well, I don't think they understand. I think they need to be educated how a union job works. You know, it's just like, you know, every year you get that 2.5%. And as I've asked you, I would like you to just keep monitoring,
Yep.
just see what the pay is out there around in the districts.
yep, we did a full review a couple months ago. And I
Okay,
think
and
we're
I just want to
still-
make sure we're in that, I want to make sure we're in that pay range. I don't want to be where we're going to lose people to
I
go
agree.
elsewhere when we've invested a lot of money in
It's
them.
too much money to train them.
And so I just want to make sure we're continuing to do that. But yeah, I had a couple of the guys say, it's great, but sure could use more money. And my circumstance was that, well, that's a negotiation between you guys and the union, and you guys have Fridays off, so.
Yep. I think we did have some wage discussions, and we talked a little bit about some of those concerns throughout the process. We have evaluated the wages within the last couple of months, and I think that is a continual process because there is some volatility in the market. It's something we will commit to continue to do.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we just continue to market out there to make sure we're in the ballgame.
And that's it for me.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Chair, unless there's any questions.
You guys
from
have
of
any
the board.
questions,
Oh,
Jeff,
that's awesome.
Danny?
No, thank you.
Sounds really good.
Okay, let's move on to item J, water and sewer.
Yeah, I'll take that for Trevor.
Okay,
Granite Construction is looking at building an asphalt batch plant. It's located at 2198 South, 7400 West. I'll just pull up you've got the recommendation letter from Trevor there. Here is overall view. I don't know if you can see that. It's in your packet, but
right.
I'll pull it up here. There's 2100 South, so it's across from that, what's it called, the car place? Copart.
Copart.
Yeah, it's across.
So is it the red slash?
Yeah, it's in the red slashed area. So there's it's like a flag lot almost, to access. You got some smaller, narrower accesses. So the bulk of the facilities will be set back off of 2100 South.
So is this new land they've just purchased, do you think?
Yeah, Trevor said this was the Godfrey. Do you remember when Godfrey
Godfrey
came
Trucking,
in
yeah.
and talked?
It's the
Godfrey,
property?
Norm came in, it's been several months.
Right.
But he came in and talked about the Godfrey.
And he wanted to put wasn't a sewer line or something?
Yeah, he wanted to do something on that.
Yeah.
And so this is a new they've sold that
Okay,
to Granite.
So what is
Or in the process of it.
what is the building that's just north of it then? Or is that south?
can you zoom in on that?
What's that upper, who owns that piece that they're gonna,
Is that Copart?
is that the core part? No, it doesn't
Yeah,
look like it's big enough.
Copart is on this side with all these.
Yeah,
Right.
go down.
Are you
Who's
talking
that
about right
there?
here?
Yeah, right there.
I can't remember the owner of that. Do you remember the owner of that?
Like a excavation and trucking guy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Private
That's right.
company.
It's not Norwood or anybody, is it? No.
Whitaker's going in.
Yeah,
A
that's
little
why.
further west.
Yeah, a little further west, right? They'll be connecting to the facilities in 2100.
Okay.
South, the 12-inch water line and our sewer main. And then there's a dry line already. You can see here, they'll be stubbing service off of that into the property.
So is that 2100
Here's us
the
overall.
road that feeds the wastewater treatment plant?
Correct.
Yeah.
Where the
Because
utilities are.
2400 is
Now
24,
wastewater,
right?
what wastewater plant's over here, 7200, you turn and the Copart, you got the junkyard on the corner and you've got that basin,
Okay,
stormwater, and it's right here.
and that's where they'll be, huh? Good access, huh?
Yeah.
So we'd recommend approval to the board unless there's any questions or concerns.
Okay.
I guess I need to start asking this all the time. Do we have plenty of water?
We do have water to serve this, yes.
Okay.
I don't know if they use that much of the asphalt plant.
No, but
If they do.
Not in necessarily in the operations itself, but just all of the cleaning and
So,
moisture control, dust control.
dust control.
maybe you can't answer this, but are they gonna just be batching their own materials, or are they gonna sell to the public?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve Granite Construction Asphalt Plant located at 2198 South, 7400 West.
I'll second that.
It's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But we can certainly get you that answer. I'll get with Trevor, I'm sure.
Because I'm having that question answered to me a lot. Do we have enough water to provide? So you're gonna probably hear me say that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, we're in good shape. I think we're in a good spot.
Okay.
We're fortunate. I would say, I would
Yes.
consider us fortunate compared to some,
Real
obviously,
fortunate.
so.
Okay, let's move on to item K, the project and award agreements. Number 1.
Mr. Chair, this is, the purchase of trench bolts for construction crew as well as the sewer crews if needed, of the price of $8,829.
We had put this on the annual budget last year, and it had taken quite some time for us to get the requisite bids. It was hard to get bids on, but Raymond kept after it. This is what we think is probably the
Looks like
best.
this will do everything you want to
Yeah.
do.
Right.
and narrow.
It'll cover us pretty
That
well.
spreader bars is 6 feet tall, 8 feet long, 40 to 64 inches wide, with legs as well, so that'll help us get even higher than the
Right.
8 foot, so if we had to get into a sewer, so we'd be up to over 10 feet, so that's a pretty good price on it.
If the board don't have any other questions, I'd accept a motion on this.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the purchase of trench box, National Trench Safety, in the amount of $9,829.
I'll second that.
It's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Liel,
Last month, I don't know if you remember, you can look in your packet, but last month,
Right.
I requested $656,685.23 to purchase our meter stock for 2025. I went to submit the purchase order to Meter Works, found out that the cost of the register was not in that unit price of $275.31 on the 5/8 meter. With that, I'm bringing it back to the board to authorize an additional $87,000 to purchase the register with the meter, because we would not be good if we didn't have the registers.
right.
So that's what this agenda item is just to request another $87,000 so I can submit the PO to Meter Works and get those ordered.
So there's really that much difference between a 5/8 and a 3/4, huh?
No, it's the register portion.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
can buy it
it's the
separate without the register.
You can
That's
buy a
what,
chamber and a register.
that's the cost, that's how much the register portion costs.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. But there was how many units? There was
1,400.
1453, so.
Okay.
Okay, I'll accept
Second.
the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meter stock purchase of difference $87,693.95, which the total will be $744,379.18 for the 2025 Stock purchase.
No second that.
It's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Moving on to number 3, Dallas.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, down at the wastewater treatment plant, we have what we call the plant drain well. Inside that well is 2 pumps. The piping in that infrastructure is starting to age and become corroded. We've asked for a bid from Corio Construction to help us replace those valves, remove some of the old piping. We're gonna put the valves outside of the wet well, so they're not submerged in the wastewater, increase the longevity of those, and then bring the piping and the fittings up to Magna Water standards. Right now, it's just PVC with Fernco, so we're gonna go to the district standard and get some mega lugs on that piping. The price point is a little below of what we technically need to bring to the board, but we just wanted to bring it to the board, let you guys know what we're up to and some of the things that we're working on. So when I had the original bid of $19,900, that was to replace the existing infrastructure as is. To get it up to district standards, it might be another $3,000 or $4,000. I've put a do not exceed price of $25,000 on the bid. And there's a sketch of what we're up to in your packet if you wanted to look at that, but this is something that we recognize needs to be done. It's a choke point in the plant, so we'd like to get this approved and move forward on it.
Looks good.
Yes.
Looks good.
So the question will be, would the board prefer approval?
Do you want us to approve the 25,000?
That's an option, if you're confident that you don't think it will exceed.
It definitely won't exceed 25,000. It may exceed 10% of 19,000, so, but if the board would be willing to do the do not exceed of 25, I think we'd be in good shape.
That would be better.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Just don't know
We
what
can
we'll
always
run
report
into.
back what the final cost is
Right.
next month,
Correct.
if we have that done.
Okay.
Okay,
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the replacement piping and valves for the wastewater treatment plant drain well by Corio Construction for a not to exceed $25,000.
I'll second that.
been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Dallas, your next one.
Sure, the change house, Mr. Chairman, a quick refresher to bring us to where we are to date. We had a consultant come in and give us some potential floor plan options to utilize the existing building. We presented a couple of those floor plan options to the board in a previous meeting. Some of the things that we learned during that observation was if we were to do too much construction on that old building, it would trip certain building codes. So what we'd like to do before we're comfortable making a decision is to take a deeper dive into this. We'd like to do an official study. We want to look at 3 alternatives. We want to look at using the existing building. We want to look at a standalone building, and then we want to look at the existing West Headworks, which will go offline with the influent pump station. We want to look at potentially reusing some of that area for this proposed change house. So the initial alternative didn't address all the concerns, so we want to be able to make sure we're addressing this from 3 different angles. We're looking at immediate concerns, we're looking at potential operator growth, and then we're looking at operational growth. That existing building, we're gonna try to remove some of the electrical components that are in that original break room. That'll happen as part of the influent project. And then we also wanna see what the alternative would look like if we built that off-site and we put it where the existing West Headworks is. And then we could build enough for a change house, the new operator's office, which would have all of our SCADA control, all of the mainframe for that, some more of the electrical components. We could build enough break room to incorporate both the treatment crews and the collections crews with locker rooms. So we've asked Bowen and Collins to take a look at this. There's a few things that they'll look at besides what I've mentioned. They'll look at some of the electrical and utility evaluations, the structural evaluation of some of the existing facilities, and then potentially a demolition plan. So I think it's just a big project, and we want to know as much as we can about it to make the right
And
decision.
all I wanted was a change house.
Right?
It was a can of worms.
It was a can of worms.
So I want a time frame when we'll get this all back, because,
So the draft that's in your packet.
Right.
Talks a little bit about schedule. It's gonna have them bring us back a cost and a fee to look at all the alternatives. And then once we have that, we can bring a price and a schedule. So you guys have an idea of what to anticipate as far as the timeline goes.
so this could be started by January.
I don't want to make you any promises, Mr. Chairman. I think we understand the urgency here, and we're doing our best to move as quickly and efficiently as we can.
So do you know what the timeline is on this particular amount?
First step would be to approve this ask,
Okay.
and then they'll start working on the scope and fee, and then we'll start the pricing and the schedule.
Because they've got everything listed, I just wondered
Right.
what the time frame was. They didn't tell you any kind of time frame.
I would just be speculating.
Okay.
Okay, if everybody's good with it, I'll accept a motion on this.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve Bowen and Collins and Associates task order for Change House alternative study in the amount of $36,872.
I'll second that.
It's been motion second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, Clint,
Okay, as part of the railroad property purchase, we have to complete an ALTA survey. So they've started the title review. We've gotten some, that back. Nathan's reviewed those issues and highlighted some concerns.
I wouldn't say they're concerns, just observations.
Observations, yeah, nothing that we can't deal with. We haven't found anything that is not workable. But we're working through that. This would be the task order to complete the ALTA survey that's required for that property.
do we have a closing date on that?
I think it's in October.
It was 120 days, if I remember right, to complete the environmental and the ALTA and the,
So that's when we take possession of that property?
if everything comes back
Good.
to our conditions, then they would agree to lift the restriction
Okay.
on the property for the residential, so that we would have flexibility on selling off a portion of it.
Okay.
So that's what all this is is to make sure, we're comfortable with it, there's no major flags.
Okay.
And that they would also, on their end, agree to lift that restriction.
Is this our last step?
No, so this is intermediate step. The last step, is something that Trevor just got the quote back. It's for the Phase 1 environmental. It's $3,500 for Terracon to do the Phase 1 environmental assessment. There's potential that it could require some additional work after that Phase 1's
Depending on what
complete,
they
depending
find.
on what they find, but I think that's a reasonable price,
need
so
to-
we'd like to move forward on that one. That one was at the price point that we felt like, unless the board had any concerns, we could get that going authorized,
I would like to get this stuff going and let's get it done.
okay?
So do we need to approve the 35?
But we wanted you to
need to
approve this 18,000.
Oh, okay.
But Clint, just to be clear, the phase one is under the small purchase threshold.
Yeah. it's
Right,
under the
he could
small-
approve that with,
That's
Right.
That's why it's not on your agenda.
right.
Sometimes we bring these that are under those amounts anyway, just to make sure the board's comfortable.
Well, and I feel good, I feel really good about you doing that, so appreciate that.
And we get a point to talk about it.
Right.
So we
So
don't
that's
need,
why this JUB one that's a big enough and important enough, we wanted to make sure the board had feedback.
So we don't need to motion this then?
Well, you do for,
Since it's on the
it's
agenda.
on the.
Oh, since it's on the agenda, you're right, we do have to.
do we
So,
need,
just to clarify, you have a small purchase threshold that allows the staff to make purchases.
Oh,
But
okay. Right.
they have the discretion, as Clint mentioned, to bring things to you.
Right.
And when it's on the agenda, they're saying, even though we could do this administratively, we want you to approve it to
I
make
see,
sure we're all
okay.
And I like that because there's
that's
things that, okay,
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a proposal to approve task order for Elda survey on a Union Pacific property in the amount of $18,000.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, Dallas.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, West Side Collection Project 1B, this is a project that we sent out to bid 18 months or so ago. We received back 2 bids from 2 different contractors. The pricing wasn't comparative to similar projects. We've modified the task to give the contractor a little more leniency in their schedule. This project includes a bore underneath the 201 freeway. We're hopeful now the bidding environment and the contractor availability will gather better attention and give us some more options. Along with the boring type, we've adjusted that to offer an additional alternative that may open it up for additional contractor interest. So we'd like to get this bid reopened and send it back out.
So you're making it more attractive for other bidders?
Correct. And hoping that the environment is a little less competitive and we'll get a better price and more contractors.
Okay, good. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the West Side Collection Project 1B rebidding task order in the amount of $16,185.
And I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Leal.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add one more thing on that.
Yes.
I think this is an example where we open a project and the district uses their responsibility to evaluate the costs. And we don't always, I guess this is an example of if we don't like the offer that we've gotten, then we don't necessarily have to take it. So I think it's a good example of how the team has used responsible thinking and good judgment. So I think it's a good example. I just wanted to share that.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you, Dallas.
Thank you, Dallas.
Agreed. So on our servers, currently we have 3 servers here in the office that runs runs everything, our accounting system, it keeps all of our documents. And for a few years, we've had 1 server on the budget to be replaced. And we call that Casper. Casper is over 15 years old, believe it or not.
How old is it?
15.
15 years old. And then we have another one, what we call DCO1. And then we have another one, what we call database. Database and DCO1 is 8 to 10 years. So we've made a lot of time on these 3 servers. This proposal is to put 2 new servers in the system. So the 2 would replace all 3. And the biggest reason we need to do this now is because last upgrade that I did with Cassell, I always have issues with the upgrades and I've got to call them, but they got onto the system with me and they're like, oh, your operating system is out of date. Don't upgrade again. You're on borrowed time right now. So we need to get this done. So 2 servers would replace all 3 and I would anticipate these would last us for, we don't really like to go that long on servers, but I would say maybe 8 years.
Okay, great. Any comments?
No.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the upgrade main computer servers in the amount of $30,311.44.
I'll second that.
It's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Leal, let's go to item 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago, sorry to say, we had the board approve items for surplus sale. These items that are in this packet were not on that list, and so I felt we needed permission to go ahead and surplus these at the same time. It's taken a while to get the surplus sale going. We are ready to advertise for it, but I'm having some issue, and maybe Nathan can help me, I don't know, I'm having some issue.
Scroll down a little bit again on that furniture, let's see what it is.
I called TNT Auction to see if they would take the trailer and the truck bed.
Love those.
And TNT will not take the trailer because it's broken. So what I'm trying to find out is if we need to apply for a salvage title on
Do you have a
that
trailer? Do you have a picture of that trailer?
No, it was in the prior.
Can we use it for a float?
Oh, what you said.
Well, the whole tongue on the trailer, you know, edge of the trailer and then the tongue comes out.
Okay.
The whole tongue right here is broke, right up against the trailer, the side of the trailer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you wanted to weld it, to put it in the float or what, but anyway.
Okay.
So I need to find out if we need a salvage title before we do the surplus on that.
What was we
trailer.
using the trailer for?
It was our saw trailer.
How big is this trailer?
It's a Hallmark
Asphalt
12.
cut.
Okay,
Asphalt,
that'll rack.
It's a dumping.
It's
No,
enclosed.
it's just a regular.
Because some of those
post
trailers,
trailer.
I'm an expert on the DMV, but some of
No,
those
it was
don't even
not
need to
that,
be
it was
registered.
just a whole lot of.
We have a
cut
title
saw
on it.
around.
I think it's registered.
I
It's
know.
on our fleet.
I would check with the
So
DMV,
it's a
because
small one,
usually a
like
salvage
for the
title,
trench and stuff.
It's
it's
really
been
small.
wrecked,
It's-
and then it's
You
been,
can bid
you know,
on
the
it.
insurance company
8 by
has determined that it's.
That's
Right.
exactly what they said. I did call the
So what do
DMV.
we use to haul
I didn't
this
have the
But
VIN at
another
the
trailer.
time, and they said something about has the insurance
dump.
deemed it
Sell for scrap.
done. What did you call it?
Usually it's, they feel it as a loss.
Yeah,
And then-
so, and I says, no,
Total.
we haven't.
What about,
reported it to the
what about
insurance.
scrap?
Use it.
There's the trailer right
Oh, there you
there.
go.
Oh, it's an enclosed one?
Yeah,
Holy cow.
Jeff will buy it.
That's not gonna be great for a float, is it?
No.
Hey, David,
Even throw in the
there's our 4th of July trailer to put all our supplies in.
We'll give you a good deal.
Yeah.
Or can we surplus it and then it
Could
would be the
surplus it
new
and sell it as
owners?
is.
And it's just, you
Dispose
said
it.
that tongue just needs to be welded?
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix
See, I
it.
don't, that's the thing, is usually,
It'd
I
have to
don't,
be fish plate.
I think, my suggestion is that you just surplus it, sell it as is, disclose the tongue, and let
Okay.
the person buy it deal with it.
Like-
Because I don't know how we're gonna get it
Yeah, put a
to
channel.
be determined salvage without somebody determining that it's
What is
total.
that?
And I don't know if a broken tongue
Yeah.
does total
Right.
it.
Well,
Buy that air conditioner for sale?
I know that we have
I use that down at my house.
surplus
For a party.
items as is. I mean, it says in the advertisement right in there, it's- everything is as is.
Yeah, right now it has a clean title.
You buy it for.
I think we'd sell it as, a it's just like if you were to say, hey,
As is,
I have a
right?
car, I'm selling it as is, it has a misfire in the engine, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the engine's, the salvage usually comes in when
When
somebody
they
else is.
try to go register it.
Well, no, usually it comes in if you're in an accident, you file an insurance
Oh, yeah,
claim,
yeah.
and then, and that, none of that's happened here, so I would
Alright,
just
well,
sell it
if
as
the
is.
board's okay with that,
I'm okay with that.
we'll just proceed with this.
Does the Arts Council need
surplus
another
sale now.
trailer?
It's 12 feet? How long is it, Raymond?
Looks like a nice trailer.
14?
10 feet?
I'd have to look.
I thought it was,
You'd have to look.
it looked like a
It's
6
8 or
by,
10 by 5.
yeah, 6 by 8 or something.
It's bigger than 6.
That's
All
a
right,
5.
then.
There it is.
That's the door width.
It has a door in the front or on the side.
Yeah, it might
It
be
might
10,
It might be 10.
3.
Well, I'm gonna proceed with the surplus sale then, put
Okay.
as is and get it
Yeah, it
done.
looks like maybe a 5 by 10. That's good.
Yeah.
But today, the motion is just to add the furniture that was out in the foyer.
Okay.
When does your sale come on?
I'm
Today.
sorry.
Oh,
The sale starts
Sell
when?
going.
I'll have to change the dates on the advertisement, but I thought we'd give it at least 2 weeks.
when are you gonna post it?
I could post it next week.
Well,
at
no, I
this
just
point.
wondered when you were.
Next week.
Okay.
I'll let you know when it goes in.
Okay, will you?
Yes,
You'll send an email out to all the employees in the board.
yes.
Okay, great.
So we just need to approve the additional stuff.
There you go, Marie.
Hurry. Yeah, because it looks like it's in really good shape, that trailer does.
Does. It is actually just besides the frame.
Does the trailer swing open or does it have ramp?
Got a ramp in the back.
It has a rack in the back where it swings open.
A ramp.
A ramp.
It's a ramp or at
It
least.
has a ramp in the back.
Well, maybe when I retire, I could get a lawnmower and put it in there and go. Yeah.
What's the reel on the front?
It's a hose reel for the saw trailer. I mean, it's just a hose for the,
Did you have a water tank in there? Oh, you just took the water?
we just hooked it to a hose, yeah. for our.
Okay, let's move on to, oh, we need a motion on this. Yes, you want a motion on
Sure.
8?
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve putting the additional items on the surplus sale, front lobby furniture.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Raymond.
Mr. Chairman and chairs, this is from Viola, these are EDR replacement parts in the amount of $100,885. These parts are for our inventory, preventive maintenance. And we've had, it's up to, right now, a long wait time for parts, so I think these parts would be good to go on our shelf for preventive maintenance.
Are we, on our parts, did we ever start scanning them so we know
For inventory.
for our
We
inventory?
are starting to scan this year.
Okay, cause I think that's very critical, then that way and then when you take out a part, you sign that part out for a job, right?
Yep,
Okay, so we know where the part went,
that's where we're headed.
okay? Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's,
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Viola EDR replacement parts in the amount of $100,885.
I'll second that.
it's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to item L.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. We got, the Utah Cybersecurity Commission sent us a letter and then also addressed one to the board directly. And so we wanted to provide that so that you had what they're communicating. And they're basically saying, hey, they've got some options, a plan with some goals and objectives related to cybersecurity in Utah, and some different programs that they're offering up at no cost. We think they're all good programs. We did have our IT consultant review them. He also does work for another district, and so he had already reviewed these goals, and he wrote a letter just indicating that, hey, these are all great, but where you're at currently exceeds what these goals are.
Ours
So
exceeds.
Ours is a little bit more protective in terms of cybersecurity, in his opinion. What we're doing goes beyond what these are, and we can give you a copy of that. We just got that. Leal can give you any additional information on
Yeah,
that.
he did indicate that there is a program with the state that's called KNOW-B4, KNOWBE4, KNOW-B4 Security Awareness Training. He did recommend that we get that and train our employees on it. That was his only recommendation out of
So he
that.
did recommend that we use the state's program?
That one.
Only
the
this
training.
portion of it, it's
Oh.
called KNOW-B4 Security Awareness Training. So we'll look into that.
And is that okay if we just get part of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
This is just, they're wanting to improve everybody's cybersecurity.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think it's a positive, and it's good for us to look into what they're wanting to do and what we're doing.
I think part of the freeness of it is based on grants. They did indicate there's no more grant money this year. They anticipate more grant money in 2-3 years, so anyway,
Okay,
just FYI.
okay, number
Do
2.
we need to make a motion on that?
No, this is just discussions.
And then we just wanted to let you know on the water quality report, I think Leal's already mentioned that.
Right.
So this one you wanted a motion, right?
Yeah, because last board meeting, we showed it to them, it wasn't on the agenda.
Right.
Right.
We wanted you to,
So you can go, all we have to do, we've seen it, so all you have to do is approve it. Okay.
ratify it today.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2023 water quality report, annual report, that was placed on the district website July 1st, 2024, and a link to the monthly billing.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so for information and discussion only, no action. Next board meeting will be held August 8th, 2024 at 10 a.m. here.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I could follow up on that change house, I just spoke with the consultant. They said the study would be done in 60 days.
Okay, great.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Good deal.
Appreciate that, thank you. So if we have any other comments, if someone wants to close the opening, go into close for litigation, health.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to meet immediately in closed meeting to discuss the character, professional competence, physical or mental health of an individual, the purchase, exchange, lease, real property, including any form of a water right, water share, collective bargaining pursuant to Utah Code 52-4-204 through 205.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
It's 1:43. I'd like to make a motion to reopen the public board meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any other business that needs to come before this body?
I don't.
If anybody,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at 1:44.
I'll second that.
been motion second, all in favor? Aye. Aye.